Sometimes life places mountains in front of us. And when you look at those mountains, the first thought that comes to your mind is, I can't do this. The world will tell you it's impossible. Your mind will tell you it's impossible. Even the people closest to you might say, you shouldn't try. But listen carefully to me right now. The only voice you must pay attention to is the one inside you that whispers, yes, I can. That is your power. That is your potential. That is the seed of greatness that refuses to be ignored. When things seem impossible, it's not a sign that you should give up. It's a signal that you are on the edge of something extraordinary. Your heart, your mind, and your spirit are being tested, not defeated. The question is, will you shrink in fear or will you rise in belief? And I want you to make a choice today, right now, that no obstacle will ever make you doubt yourself again. Your belief in yourself is non-negotiable because it is the foundation of everything you will ever achieve. Without belief, there is no action, and without action, dreams remain nothing more than wishes scribbled on a notebook that gathers dust on your shelf. Think about a child learning to walk for the first time. The moment they stand and wobble, everyone around them shouts, be careful, you might fall. Yet that child keeps trying over and over because deep down they believe they can. That tiny spark of belief drives them forward, even when the floor seems too hard, even when their knees are sore, even when the world's doubts echo in the background. This is exactly how your life works. If you do not believe in yourself, every step you take feels heavier, every challenge seems larger, and every opportunity passes by unnoticed. Consider the young man who dreams of opening his own business. Friends and family warn him, the market is too competitive, you don't have the experience, it's too risky. If he allows their words to overshadow his belief, he will remain in a job that drains his soul, wishing for the life he imagines but never reaching for it. Yet, the moment he decides that his belief is stronger than their doubt, everything changes. He researches, he plans, he makes mistakes, and he learns from them because his belief in himself fuels action. Belief turns hesitation into movement, fear into courage, and uncertainty into determination. Without that belief, he would never write the first line of a business plan, never make the first phone call, never take the first step toward creating the life he dreams of. Your belief in yourself is tested every single day. It is tested when you wake up tired, but still push through a workout. When you apply for a job you think you're underqualified for. When you speak your ideas in a room where no one believes in you. Each moment you choose to trust yourself, even when everyone else doubts you, you reinforce a powerful truth: you are capable, you are worthy, and you are destined to rise above circumstances. It is the small, daily acts of belief that accumulate into a life that seems impossible to others but inevitable to you. Consider the story of a student preparing for exams late into the night, surrounded by peers who have already given up or complained that the material is too hard. The student could easily follow the crowd, accept mediocrity, and surrender to the notion that the test is impossible. But because the student believes in the ability to learn, to grow, and to overcome, those long hours of study become meaningful. That belief is what transforms effort into results, struggle into mastery, and doubt into confidence. Without it, the student's talent, intelligence, and potential would remain hidden, trapped by the weight of disbelief. Your belief in yourself is not arrogance, it is not pride, it is the refusal to allow external voices to dictate your destiny. It is the quiet but firm declaration that no circumstance, no failure, no criticism can determine the limits of your potential. Think of a person learning to drive. The first time they sit behind the wheel, their hands shake, their heart races, and the fear of failure is real. Yet they believe they can learn. They follow the instructions, practice each maneuver, and slowly, through persistence and belief, they become confident drivers. That same principle applies to life's bigger challenges. Every skill you need, every goal you set, every mountain you face requires belief as the first step. Without it, you will never begin. And if you never begin, nothing changes. Imagine a writer staring at a blank page. Every doubt whispers, you are not talented enough. Nobody will care. Why start at all? Yet the writer's belief in their ability, their unique perspective, and their voice pushes their hands to move, to type, to create. That belief is the difference between a story told and a story never written, between a dream that lives and a dream that dies quietly in the mind. It is a force stronger than fear, louder than criticism, and more persistent than every obstacle combined. Your belief in yourself is the energy that fuels persistence. It is the silent conversation in your mind that says, I can, I will, I must, when the world is screaming, you can't. It is why athletes run the last lap even when their legs burn. Why entrepreneurs pitch their ideas again after rejection. Why artists continue to paint, sing, or perform despite doubt. Without belief, effort becomes meaningless, because action without trust in the self is like trying to drive a car without fuel. You may turn the key, but you will not move forward. Even in everyday situations, belief transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary opportunities. When you trust that you can learn a new language, you take the lessons, practice the words, and gradually what seemed impossible becomes natural. When you trust that you can repair your own mistakes at work, you learn new skills and gain confidence. When you believe that you deserve happiness, you make choices that align with growth and joy, rather than settling for mediocrity. Belief is not an abstract idea, it is practical, tangible, and necessary for every aspect of life. Your belief in yourself is non-negotiable because it is the source of courage, creativity, and change. It is the anchor in storms, the compass when lost, the light when darkness surrounds you. It transforms setbacks into setups, failures into feedback, and limitations into lessons. Every moment you doubt yourself is a moment you give the world permission to define your potential. Every moment you choose belief is a moment you reclaim your destiny. And so every day, in every action, in every thought, you must make the decision to trust yourself, even when everyone else doubts you, because that is where all greatness begins. Obstacles are opportunities in disguise, because what looks like a dead end is often the beginning of something extraordinary. Think about a person stuck in traffic on the way to an important meeting. Frustration builds, anger rises, and every minute seems wasted. Yet in that moment, there is a choice. See the obstacle as an enemy or as a teacher. If the person chooses to observe, to reflect, to use that time wisely, they may listen to an educational podcast, make notes for the meeting, or simply calm their mind. What seemed like a delay turns into preparation, growth, and focus. Life works this way consistently. The challenges, the setbacks, the unexpected interruptions, they are not there to stop you. They are there to redirect you, to prepare you, to make you better than you were yesterday. Consider the student who fails an exam despite studying hard. The initial reaction is disappointment, embarrassment, maybe even shame. Friends and family may say, maybe this subject is not for you, but the student has a choice. They can give up, or they can see the failure as an opportunity to learn something new about their approach, their habits, and their discipline. Every mistake contains a hidden lesson. The failed exam is not a door closing, it is a teacher knocking, asking, what will you do differently next time? When the student chooses to learn rather than lament, they gain skills, strategy, and understanding that no easy success could have given them. Think about an athlete who loses a championship match by a narrow margin. The initial heartbreak feels crushing. Yet, in the weeks following, the athlete studies the game, trains harder, and discovers weaknesses they never noticed before. The loss, painful as it is, becomes the fuel for their eventual victory. Obstacles demand preparation, attention, and creativity. They force growth in ways comfort and ease never can. Even in daily life, obstacles are constantly disguised as inconveniences. A delayed flight teaches patience, problem solving, and flexibility. A broken appliance forces a person to learn repair skills or financial responsibility. A misunderstanding with a colleague or friend tests communication, empathy, and emotional intelligence. These moments may feel frustrating at first, yet they are opportunities to build strength, wisdom, and resilience. The obstacle is not punishment, it is a gift waiting to be unwrapped by those willing to see beyond the surface. Imagine an aspiring entrepreneur whose first business fails. The temptation is to quit, to believe that they are not capable, that the market is too competitive, that they are unlucky. But those who see the obstacle as an opportunity ask, what did I learn? How can I improve? What systems failed? And how can I adjust? The failed business becomes a blueprint for the next venture. The obstacle is a mirror reflecting where growth is needed. Those who succeed are not those who never fail. They are those who learn to read failure as a message, not as a verdict. Consider the young parent struggling to balance work, family, and personal goals. Every day brings unexpected challenges, a sick child, a sudden work crisis, a financial setback. If they see these obstacles as burdens, only life becomes overwhelming. But if they choose to see each difficulty as a teacher, they learn time management, patience, and creative problem solving. Obstacles shape character. They train you to become resourceful, disciplined, and compassionate. Without obstacles, growth remains theoretical, not practical. Obstacles also reveal hidden talents and strengths. A person who thought they were shy may be forced to speak up in a critical meeting or defend their ideas, discovering confidence they never knew existed. Someone who believed they could not handle pressure may face a crisis that teaches them composure, decisiveness, and courage. What initially appears as a problem is actually a revelation. The obstacle is showing you what you are capable of when pushed beyond your comfort zone. Even the smallest daily frustrations are opportunities in disguise. Being stuck in a long queue teaches patience and mindfulness. Receiving constructive criticism teaches humility and the ability to grow. A misunderstanding with a neighbor teaches diplomacy and the art of communication. Life's challenges are like uncut gems, ugly or inconvenient at first glance, but full of value and brilliance once you learn how to polish and shape them. Obstacles test belief and determination. The person who sees a challenge as impossible will be defeated before they begin. The person who sees it as an opportunity will find solutions, discover strengths, and eventually achieve what once seemed unattainable. When a car breaks down unexpectedly, it is a chance to learn a new skill or call on a friend and strengthen relationships. When plans fail, it is an invitation to rethink strategy and innovate. Obstacles force action, adaptation, and imagination. They are the universe's way of asking, are you ready to grow? Imagine a writer facing a blank page and struggling with self-doubt. The obstacle is the fear of inadequacy, the thought that words are not good enough. But if the writer persists, the obstacle becomes inspiration. The blank page teaches discipline, patience, and creativity. It is in confronting the challenge that the writer discovers unique voice, perspective, and style. Every obstacle hides a lesson. Every setback holds a seed of greatness. Obstacles are opportunities in disguise because they demand engagement, focus, and resilience. They force us to examine our lives, our choices, and our potential. A person who embraces obstacles learns to transform frustration into growth, failure into strategy, and disappointment into fuel for action. The world is full of people waiting for easy paths, yet greatness is reserved for those willing to see beyond difficulty, to read the hidden messages, and to act despite discomfort. Every obstacle is teaching, shaping, and preparing you for a future greater than your present. A delayed promotion at work may teach new skills or leadership qualities you would not have developed otherwise. A relationship that ends may teach self-awareness, boundaries, and patience for the right partner. A financial setback may teach planning, discipline, and innovation. Obstacles are not walls meant to stop you. They are doors meant to open when you approach them with the right perspective. Every moment of difficulty is a call to rise. Every challenge is a test of vision. Every failure is an invitation to discover what is possible. The person who sees obstacles as threats struggles and stagnates. The person who sees them as opportunities transforms and achieves. Life does not give obstacles to punish. It gives them to prepare, to teach, and to reveal the greatness that lies within you. Fear is the liar you must silence because it is the voice that whispers doubt, hesitation, and limitation into your mind at the very moment when you are most capable of achieving greatness. Every human being experiences fear, but the difference between those who achieve and those who stagnate is the ability to recognize fear for what it truly is, a false story your mind tells to protect you from imagined danger, not from real opportunity. Think about the young professional standing outside the office, about to deliver their first presentation to a group of senior leaders. Their hands shake, their heart races, and every thought screams, you can't do this, you are not ready, what if you fail? That voice is fear speaking, exaggerating the risk, magnifying the possibility of embarrassment, and whispering that inaction is safer. Yet in that same moment, another voice can speak, calm, confident, persistent. I am ready, I am capable, I will do this anyway. Courage does not mean fear disappears. It means fear is acknowledged but ignored, silenced by action and determination. Consider a student preparing to give a class speech. As they step in front of their peers, the fear of judgment, of stumbling over words, of being laughed at, rises like a wave. Every heartbeat tells them to retreat, to sit down, to avoid the discomfort. Yet, as they take a deep breath and speak the first word, the fear begins to lose its grip. The voice that told them, "You can't," slowly fades behind the sound of their own courage. Every person listening may not even notice the trembling inside, but the student feels a transformation, a new confidence born from confronting fear. The mind learns something powerful in that moment. Fear can speak, but belief and action must respond louder. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It says, this is impossible, you are not ready, wait for the perfect moment. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is created the moment you step forward, despite the trembling, the hesitation, the uncertainty. Imagine a young entrepreneur staring at an idea for a business. Fear whispers, what if you fail? What if nobody buys? What if you lose everything? Yet the decision to begin, to move forward with imperfect preparation, is what separates dreamers from achievers. Fear may exaggerate the danger, magnify the risks, and distort reality, but courage acts anyway. Every obstacle in life seems larger when fear is allowed to dominate. A person afraid of public speaking imagines ridicule, failure, and embarrassment as mountains taller than they really are. A parent facing a major financial decision imagines loss and disaster at every turn. A student considering a challenging course sees only difficulty and struggle. Fear is always lying, inflating the impossible, hiding the truth that you are capable, prepared, and strong enough to handle what comes. Every story of success is built on someone choosing to move forward in spite of that false voice. Think of someone learning to drive for the first time. The fear is immediate, the possibility of crashing, making mistakes, being judged by others. The heart races, the mind questions, every instinct screams retreat. Yet the first turn of the wheel, the first press of the pedal, the first mile driven transforms fear into skill, knowledge, and confidence. Fear is silenced not by avoiding the car, but by confronting it, embracing the discomfort, and trusting the process. The liar has no power when action takes the lead. Fear is also disguised as comparison. It says, you cannot achieve what they have achieved. You are not as talented, smart, or capable. Yet every person you admire has faced fear, has heard the same voice, and has chosen to act anyway. A young musician may look at seasoned performers and think, I will never reach that level. Fear tells them to quit before they even begin, but as they practice, perform small gigs, and take each step forward, fear loses authority. The liar is revealed. It is not truth, it is a story designed to limit you. In relationships, fear speaks in whispers of inadequacy. It says, you are not lovable, you are not worthy, you will be rejected. Yet taking the risk to be honest, to open your heart, to communicate clearly silences that liar. Each step forward in vulnerability teaches that fear exaggerates pain and minimizes possibility. Courage does not erase the possibility of disappointment, but it ensures that fear does not control the outcome. Fear often becomes most powerful when you sit alone with your thoughts. The quiet moments are when it exaggerates every worst case scenario. Imagine someone contemplating a career change. The fear tells them, you will fail, you will regret it, you are not enough. But when they take action, research, prepare, and speak to mentors, they find clarity, opportunity, and courage that fear could never have predicted. Fear only has power when you allow it to speak louder than preparation, belief, and action. Fear lies about timing, ability, and consequences. It says, not now, not you, too late. Yet life rewards those who act despite fear. The first step, the first word, the first decision silences it. Every athlete stepping onto a field for the first game, every artist releasing their first creation, every person speaking truth in a room of critics. Each confronts the liar and moves forward anyway. Fear exaggerates, distorts, and limits, but courage, action, and belief cut through its illusions with clarity and momentum. Fear must be faced daily because it never rests. It will return whenever you step toward growth, change, or opportunity. The young professional aiming for a promotion, the student applying to a competitive program, the entrepreneur pitching an idea, all will hear the whispers of impossibility, inadequacy, and doubt. Yet every choice to act in spite of fear weakens the liar, strengthens your confidence, and reinforces the truth you are capable, you are ready, and you are stronger than the voice that tries to hold you back. Small, consistent steps create unstoppable momentum. Because greatness is never achieved in a single leap. It is built in the quiet, often unnoticed, choices that accumulate over time. Imagine a person who wants to get fit. The goal seems enormous: run 5 kilometers without stopping, lose 20 pounds, build strength. The mind rebels at the thought, saying, this is too hard, too much, I'll never do it. Yet the first small step, putting on running shoes, walking for 10 minutes, or doing a single push-up, is the spark that starts the fire. That small step may seem insignificant, but it sets a rhythm, a pattern, and over days, weeks, and months, those tiny, repeated actions create momentum so powerful that the body transforms, the mind adapts, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Consider a student preparing for final exams. At first, the syllabus appears overwhelming. Dozens of chapters, endless problems, and a feeling of panic. Yet the student chooses to study a single topic each day, dedicates just 30 minutes to focused work, and repeats this consistently. Initially, the progress is almost invisible, but the act of showing up daily builds habits, strengthens memory, and reduces fear. Each step is small, manageable, and deliberate, yet together they form an unstoppable force that carries the student towards success. The secret is not brilliance or talent, but persistence in small steps that eventually become giant leaps. Think about a writer staring at a blank page. The first sentence is always the hardest. The fear of imperfection, the voice that says, "You are not good enough. What if nobody reads this?" can stop creativity cold. Yet writing a single sentence, then another, day after day, creates momentum. The words begin to flow. The ideas develop, and before long a full chapter, a manuscript, or even a published book emerges. The writer did not need to see the entire book at once. They only needed to commit to the first sentence and the next over and over. That is the power of small, consistent steps. Small steps are not limited to personal goals. They apply to every area of life. Imagine a young entrepreneur launching a business. The goal of building a successful company can feel overwhelming, full of risks, competitors, and uncertainties. Yet the first step might be as simple as researching the market for an hour, making a business plan, or reaching out to one potential client. The next day, another small action, sending a proposal, learning a new skill, adjusting the strategy, adds to the momentum. Over time, these small deliberate actions compound. The business grows, reputation strengthens, and opportunities appear. The impossible of day one becomes the reality of tomorrow. Consider relationships as well. Trust, love, and connection do not happen overnight. They are cultivated through consistent acts of care, attention, and communication. Sending a message of encouragement, listening patiently, showing gratitude, or performing small gestures builds momentum in relationships. Each small step, taken consistently, strengthens bonds, deepens understanding, and fosters loyalty. The most powerful relationships are rarely built by grand gestures alone. They are built by small, consistent steps taken over time. Small steps also protect against burnout and overwhelm. When faced with a large task, the mind often becomes paralyzed by the sheer scale of the work. Fear whispers, "This is too much, I can't handle it." Yet breaking the task into small, manageable steps creates clarity, focus, and progress. A person cleaning a cluttered house begins with a single drawer, then a shelf, then a room. Before long, the entire house is organized. A writer editing a manuscript starts with one paragraph, then a page, then a chapter. Momentum grows because the brain recognizes achievement, no matter how small, and fuels motivation to continue. Small, consistent steps also build resilience. Life will throw obstacles, distractions, and setbacks. Momentum is what carries you through the tough days. A person training for a marathon may sprain an ankle, face bad weather, or struggle with self-doubt, yet the habit of daily, consistent effort allows them to recover and continue. Each small step, repeated without fail, reinforces confidence, endurance, and strength. Momentum cannot be stopped when it is built step by step, action by action, choice by choice. Even learning a new skill works this way. A person learning a musical instrument may feel overwhelmed by the complexity of chords, scales, and rhythms. Yet daily practice of 10 or 15 minutes at a time, focusing on small sections, gradually builds proficiency. Those small steps, repeated consistently, transform frustration into mastery. Over time, the music that once sounded impossible flows naturally as a direct result of momentum created by small deliberate actions. Small consistent steps also shape character. Integrity, discipline, and perseverance are not built in dramatic moments alone. They are cultivated through small daily decisions. Showing up on time, keeping promises, completing tasks, and acting with honesty. These may seem minor in isolation, but consistently practiced, they become the foundation of unstoppable personal power. Momentum grows because every small choice reinforces belief in oneself and trust in the process. Consider the story of someone saving money. The goal of financial freedom seems distant and unattainable, yet saving even a small amount daily or weekly, avoiding unnecessary expenses, and consistently investing builds wealth over time. The growth may be invisible at first, but the habit, the momentum, and the compounded results eventually manifest as financial stability, opportunities, and freedom. Small steps do not just lead to progress, they multiply and create exponential results. Small, consistent steps create momentum. because momentum is the energy that bridges the gap between desire and achievement. It is the accumulation of repeated action, the power of habit, and the effect of consistency. Each step is a message to the mind, the body, and the spirit that you are committed, capable, and unstoppable. When you look back months or years later, the journey that once seemed impossible is the natural result of tiny, deliberate, and persistent actions taken every day. Your mindset is the battlefield, because the war for your success, your happiness, and your purpose is first fought in your own mind. The world can present obstacles, critics, failures, and setbacks, but none of these have power over you unless you allow your mind to surrender first. Every great achievement in history began with a mind that refused to yield, a heart that refused to quit, and a vision that refused to bend to fear. Think about a student preparing for a difficult exam. The textbooks are heavy, the material is complex, and the hours of study feel endless. The fear of failure creeps in, whispering, "You will never understand this. You are not smart enough." That is the battlefield speaking. If the student lets those thoughts dominate, panic overtakes preparation, and the mind becomes an enemy. Yet if the student chooses to feed their mind with belief, with focus, with determination, the same textbooks become tools, the same hours become investment, and the mind transforms into an ally. The victory is not in the material itself, but in mastering the battlefield within. Consider an athlete training for a competition. The body tires, muscles ache, and progress seems slow. Fear of losing, of not being good enough, or of failing in front of others tries to creep into the mind. The battlefield is in the mind first. The athlete must guard against negative thoughts, feed their mind with confidence, discipline, and persistence. Every lap run, every weight lifted, every practice session is an act of claiming the battlefield, asserting that the mind will determine the outcome, not circumstance. The strength of the mind turns pain into endurance, struggle into growth, and effort into excellence. Your mindset determines how you perceive the world. A person walking into a challenging work environment may see obstacles everywhere, impossible deadlines, difficult colleagues, overwhelming projects. The external reality is the same for everyone, but the mind interprets it differently. One mindset sees obstacles as threats, stress as a burden, and criticism as defeat. Another mindset sees opportunities to learn, growth in challenges, and strength in adversity. The battlefield is fought in how you think, in what you allow your mind to accept, and in the voice you nurture within. If you feed doubt, hesitation, and fear, the battlefield becomes a prison. If you feed faith, focus, and determination, the battlefield becomes a training ground for your future triumphs. Consider a person facing financial difficulties. Bills are overdue, income feels insufficient, and pressure mounts from every direction. Fear and despair try to dominate the mind, saying, "You will never overcome this. Life is too hard. There is no way out." The battlefield is in the mind. The moment that person decides to think differently, to see opportunity in hardship, to learn new skills, to create solutions, the same challenges transform into lessons, strategies, and paths forward. A mind cultivated with resilience turns scarcity into innovation, struggle into strategy, and pressure into potential. Even daily life requires vigilance over the battlefield of the mind. Imagine being stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting, and stress rising. The mind can escalate the moment into anger, frustration, and negativity, or it can transform the experience into patience, focus, and preparation. Listening to an educational podcast, planning the meeting mentally, or reflecting quietly are all acts of claiming the battlefield, of refusing to surrender to external chaos. Your mindset shapes every response, every emotion, and every action, because the external world only has power over the mind that gives it permission. Relationships are another terrain of the battlefield. When conflict arises, when words hurt, when expectations are not met, the mind determines the outcome. Reacting with anger, resentment, or fear hands control to circumstance and emotion. Responding with understanding, patience, and composure is a victory on the battlefield. Feeding your mind with perspective, empathy, and emotional intelligence strengthens your control over outcomes, because no situation has power over a mind that refuses to surrender. Consider the person pursuing a dream that others ridicule. Friends, family, and society may say it is impossible, foolish, or unattainable. The battlefield is in the mind. Believing in yourself when the world doubts you is an act of warfare. Every thought that challenges fear, every affirmation of purpose, every visualization of success is a strategic move in the battlefield of the mind. External voices can shout, but the mind that is disciplined, focused, and unwavering creates reality. Your destiny is not shaped by obstacles, critics, or setbacks. It is shaped by the soil of the mind, by what you plant, nurture, and protect within your thoughts. Your mindset determines how you face failure. When plans collapse, when opportunities are missed, when efforts do not yield results, the mind can become a battlefield of self-blame, regret, and despair. Yet the same mind trained to see lessons, growth, and resilience can transform failure into feedback, mistakes into mastery, and loss into preparation. Each victory begins in the mind long before it manifests in the world, because the battlefield is here first. Guarding the mind, feeding it with strength, courage, and clarity is the most decisive strategy in life. Even in personal growth, the battlefield of the mind is essential. Learning a new skill, breaking a habit, or changing behavior requires constant attention to internal dialogue. Fear, laziness, doubt, and distraction are always ready to attack. Consistency, discipline, and faith in the process are the defenses. Small victories over negative thoughts accumulate into unstoppable momentum. The mind becomes not a place of struggle, but a powerhouse of transformation, where what was impossible yesterday becomes achievable tomorrow. Every human being faces challenges, setbacks, and uncertainty. The difference lies in the battlefield of the mind. A person who allows negative thoughts to dominate is defeated before the first action. A person who trains their mind, guards it against fear, nurtures it with perseverance, and feeds it with faith creates unstoppable momentum toward their purpose. The mind becomes the soil from which your destiny grows, the foundation upon which action rests, and the engine that drives success. Protecting it, feeding it, and strengthening it is not optional. It is essential. Consider the everyday moments that test your mind. Waking up early for work when you want to sleep, choosing discipline over comfort, continuing to learn when knowledge feels overwhelming, speaking up when fear says remain silent, or starting a project when procrastination tempts you. Every one of these moments is a battle. Every choice determines who controls the battlefield, and every victory in thought carries over into reality. Your mindset is the battlefield. The victory within the mind precedes every victory in life, and the seeds you plant here grow into the life you are destined to live. Surround yourself with belief, because the people you allow into your life have the power to shape your thoughts, influence your actions, and determine the trajectory of your destiny. Life is too short and the world is too challenging to navigate alone, listening to voices that diminish your potential. Think about a young professional stepping into a new career. They are full of ideas, full of ambition, yet every day they are surrounded by colleagues who doubt, criticize, or discourage them. Phrases like, "That will never work," "You are too inexperienced," or "People like us don't succeed in that way," echo constantly. Over time, the mind absorbs these words, and even the most determined person can begin to question their own ability. Doubt becomes contagious. But if the same person surrounds themselves with individuals who see their vision, who cheer their efforts, who mentor and guide them, the energy transforms. Belief is contagious too, and when you are immersed in it, momentum begins to build. Consider a student preparing for a competitive exam. When the student studies with peers who are positive, disciplined, and focused, every discussion, every shared strategy, every encouragement reinforces confidence. The study sessions become more than learning. They become reinforcement of possibility. Yet if that student is surrounded by peers who complain, who mock effort, or who dismiss the goal as impossible, the same hours of study can feel heavy, discouraging, and fruitless. Belief amplifies progress while negativity undermines it. The choice of companionship is the choice of the environment in which your mind thrives or struggles. Think about an entrepreneur launching a business. The idea is new, untested, and every decision feels risky. In the early days, every rejection, every obstacle, every setback has the potential to crush confidence. The voice of the naysayer, a friend who says, "This will fail," or a colleague who sneers at the ambition, can make the dream seem unreachable. Yet, when the entrepreneur is surrounded by mentors who have walked similar paths, by friends who celebrate effort, and by partners who share the vision, the energy of belief acts like fuel. Setbacks no longer feel permanent, failures become lessons, and every small victory is amplified. Momentum grows because the support network refuses to let doubt dominate. Even in personal growth, surrounding yourself with belief changes everything. Imagine a person trying to adopt a healthier lifestyle. Family and friends who mock efforts, criticize choices, or doubt commitment make every attempt harder. But when the same person connects with those who encourage, celebrate, and model the behavior they want to achieve, progress becomes easier, habits stick, and transformation becomes inevitable. The human mind responds to the expectations and energy of those around it. Surround yourself with belief, and the mind absorbs confidence, resilience, and inspiration. Relationships also teach this principle. A person seeking to heal from past hurt or develop emotional maturity will find that the company they keep either lifts or limits them. When surrounded by individuals who encourage forgiveness, growth, and self-respect, the journey toward healing becomes supported and sustainable. Conversely, when surrounded by negativity, cynicism, or toxic habits, progress is slowed, confidence is eroded, and doubt seeps in. Belief multiplies when shared, while doubt spreads invisibly and quickly, even in small everyday moments. The power of surrounding yourself with belief is visible. Consider someone learning a new skill, like playing a musical instrument. If they practice in isolation, without guidance, without encouragement, progress feels slow and frustration can creep in. But if they join a group, take lessons, or surround themselves with peers who celebrate small milestones, the journey becomes enjoyable, the effort sustained, and the skill develops faster. Belief acts like sunlight on growth. It accelerates potential and nourishes confidence. Surrounding yourself with belief also affects the ability to dream bigger. When a person shares an ambitious vision, fear and doubt often rise. A friend who says, "That's impossible," limits imagination, while a friend who says, "I see how it can work, let me help," expands possibilities. Those who see potential when others do not create an ecosystem of opportunity, courage, and determination. Momentum builds because belief encourages action, while negativity encourages hesitation. The choice of who is allowed to influence your thoughts becomes one of the most strategic decisions you can make. Consider the person recovering from failure or loss. The mind is fragile after disappointment, susceptible to discouragement and surrender. Being surrounded by people who believe in your ability to rise, who remind you of your strength, who encourage you to take the next step, transforms recovery into growth. Their belief becomes a mirror, reflecting back confidence you may have forgotten you possessed. On the contrary, if those around you focus on blame, hopelessness, or limitation, the mind absorbs those patterns, prolonging stagnation. The energy of belief reinforces resilience and ignites courage, even in the pursuit of knowledge, career advancement, or skill mastery. Surrounding yourself with belief matters. And in turn, navigating a complex corporate environment will thrive when guided by supportive mentors, encouraged by colleagues who recognize effort, and cheered by peers who celebrate learning. Belief validates effort, reinforces possibility, and motivates action. Without it, confidence falters, energy wanes, and opportunities slip away. The quality of the people you keep around you either accelerates your journey or obstructs it. Daily life examples show how this principle transforms ordinary decisions into extraordinary outcomes. Someone training for a marathon benefits from the encouragement of a running group. Someone learning to cook or start a hobby is motivated by peers who celebrate progress. And someone building a savings habit or personal project thrives when others around them model discipline, offer guidance, and cheer milestones. Belief is contagious, infectious, and exponential, while doubt quietly erodes progress. If allowed to linger, surround yourself with belief, because it is the soil in which your dreams grow, the fuel that keeps momentum alive, and the force that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. The people who lift you when you fall, who encourage your courage, who amplify your vision, are allies in your journey. They make obstacles feel smaller, challenges more manageable, and victories more powerful. The choice of who you allow near your mind, heart, and energy is one of the most strategic choices you can make in life, because doubt is contagious, but belief is explosive. Past failures do not define future success, because every setback, every rejection, every mistake is simply a chapter in the story of your growth, not the conclusion of your journey. Imagine a young professional who applied for a dream job and received a polite rejection letter. The first reaction might be disappointment, shame, or self-doubt. The mind whispers, maybe you're not good enough, maybe you'll never reach your goal. Yet that rejection is not a verdict on their life or talent. It is a teacher offering insight, a mirror reflecting where improvement is needed, and a compass pointing to resilience. Those who succeed are not exempt from failure. They are distinguished by their refusal to let failure define them. Their determination to learn, adapt, and persist. Consider the student who fails an important exam. The initial feeling is crushing, the world seems to shrink, dreams feel distant, and fear whispers, "You will never pass, you are incapable." Yet, if the student studies the mistakes, seeks guidance, and approaches the material with a renewed strategy, that same failure becomes a springboard. The first defeat is no longer a burden, but a blueprint teaching what methods work, what habits must change, and how persistence leads to mastery. Every no transforms into a lesson. Every error becomes a step toward future triumph. Think about an athlete who misses the championship by a fraction of a second. The disappointment is immediate and intense. Yet history is filled with champions who experience the same sting. That athlete may study harder, train smarter, and adjust techniques based on lessons learned from loss. The failure does not define their potential, it sharpens it. The runner who falls once becomes the one who wins the next race because they refuse to let a momentary setback dictate the boundaries of their dreams. Past failures also teach humility and perspective. A business person whose first venture fails may feel embarrassment or doubt, yet when they take the lessons learned about market demand, financial management, or leadership, they are better prepared for the next attempt. Failure is a teacher that costs nothing in wisdom if it is studied, applied, and respected. A failed venture is not a tombstone for ambition. It is a foundation for informed strategy, resilience, and innovation. Winners are not those who never fall. They are those who rise again and again, stronger, wiser, and more determined than before, even in daily life. Past mistakes do not determine what comes next. Someone learning a new skill may struggle with the basics, make errors repeatedly, or feel frustration with slow progress. Yet each mistake, each moment of failure contains knowledge. A cook who burns a dish learns temperature, timing, and attention. A student who forgets answers in practice learns the areas that require more focus. Each setback, repeated over time, builds competence. Success is the accumulation of lessons applied consistently, not the absence of failure. Rejection in relationships can serve the same purpose. Someone may face heartbreak or betrayal, thinking they are unworthy or unloved. Yet those experiences teach boundaries, self-awareness, empathy, and emotional strength. A person who learns from rejection grows into a more resilient, confident, and discerning partner. The pain of the past shapes, but does not dictate, the joy and success of future relationships. Every closed door may be guiding you toward the right opportunity, a place where your potential will finally be recognized. Imagine an artist whose work is criticized or ignored. The first instinct may be to quit, to doubt talent, to question if effort is worthwhile. Yet artists who persist, who study feedback, refine technique, and continue creating despite rejection, eventually reach audiences that appreciate and celebrate their craft. Past failures do not erase talent, they polish it. The world celebrates the final painting, the completed masterpiece, yet behind it are countless sketches, mistakes, and failed attempts that made the finished work possible. Even in personal growth, failures are reframed as lessons. Breaking a bad habit, learning discipline, or overcoming fear involves repeated attempts, each with setbacks. A person trying to wake early consistently may fail for weeks, miss workouts, or procrastinate, yet each failure teaches strategy, triggers self-reflection, and builds determination. The past missteps are not labels, they are training exercises proving capacity for endurance, willpower, and eventual success. Each failure is temporary, while the lessons are permanent. Winners are often those who face the loudest discouragement, yet refuse to surrender. Every no. They hear every closed door. Every denied opportunity becomes fuel. It is in those moments that character is built, perseverance is forged, and vision becomes sharper. Past failure is not the enemy. It is the ally that molds resilience, courage, and determination. The story of success is written in persistence, in rising after each fall, in taking lessons seriously, and in moving forward when giving up seems easiest. Consider someone pursuing a lifelong dream, whether it is writing a book, starting a company, or creating art. The first drafts, the first pitches, the first attempts are often rejected, criticized, or dismissed. Yet those experiences illuminate what works, what does not, and what requires change. The path to success is never linear. It is a staircase built from missteps, lessons, and repeated effort. Every failure carries the seeds of insight. Every setback is a rehearsal for triumph, and every rejection is an opportunity to rise stronger. In essence, past failures are not verdicts. They are instructions. They show you where to refine, where to grow, and where to persevere. Every mistake, every failed attempt, every rejection is a building block. The world celebrates the outcome, but the real champions are those who continue in the shadows, those who refuse to quit when quitting seems easiest, those who know that each no is not the end. But the foundation of the yes that is yet to come, the impossible, is temporary, because life is constantly moving, changing, and reshaping itself, and what seems unreachable today can become the reality of tomorrow. Imagine a student staring at a complex problem in mathematics, a question that feels unsolvable, a concept that seems beyond understanding. Their first instinct may be to give up, to declare it impossible, to tell themselves, "Can't do this." Yet persistence, repeated effort, and belief in one's ability turn that impossible equation into understanding. Step by step, the student learns, experiments, asks questions, and suddenly the solution appears clear. The impossible has melted into possibility because the mind refused to surrender, because effort was consistent, and because belief was stronger than doubt. Consider an entrepreneur with a new idea for a business. The market seems crowded, the competition intimidating, the resources scarce. At first, the vision feels impossible, a dream far beyond reach. Yet with patience, research, and unrelenting effort, the entrepreneur begins small. One client becomes two, one lesson learned becomes strategy, one obstacle overcome becomes experience. Over months, the impossible begins to bend, to shift, to accommodate the persistence and creativity poured into it. What seemed unattainable becomes reality, not by luck, but by continuous action and unwavering faith in what is possible even in daily life. The impossible is temporary. Imagine a person learning to run for the first time. The idea of completing a 5-kilometer run may feel unimaginable, their body unfit, their stamina low. Yet they begin with a single lap, a few minutes of jogging, a conscious step forward. Day by day, the body strengthens, the lungs expand, the endurance grows. Before long, the person crosses that 5-kilometer finish line with a sense of awe at what once seemed impossible. The lesson is clear: the limits we perceive are temporary. They are not fixed, and they yield to persistence, preparation, and courage. Consider someone recovering from a major setback, perhaps a failed project, lost opportunity, or personal loss. In the moment, the weight of disappointment feels crushing and hope seems distant. Yet time, effort, and a refusal to surrender shift perspective. Small victories, daily progress, and renewed determination gradually turn despair into possibility. The impossible, when faced with patience and persistence, bends to reveal a path forward, a new opportunity, a fresh start. The very challenge that seemed insurmountable becomes a foundation for growth and strength. Even relationships show the temporary nature of impossibility. Think of someone who has struggled to connect with a colleague, a friend, or a loved one. The gap in understanding, the tension, the repeated misunderstandings can seem permanent, impossible to bridge. Yet through consistent communication, empathy, and effort to understand the other person, walls crumble. Bridges form where none existed before. The impossible connection becomes possible because persistence and sincere intention change the reality of the relationship. The impossible is temporary because innovation, creativity, and problem solving always find a way. A young musician may struggle with an instrument, unable to play a song that others make seem effortless. At first, the chords are confusing, the rhythm impossible to master. Yet with consistent practice, guided instruction, and belief in progress, the music flows. The impossible of yesterday becomes the accomplishment of today. The same principle applies to careers, education, personal dreams, and goals. Every skill, every goal, every achievement begins in what feels impossible until action transforms it. Imagine a parent trying to support a child's dream that seems far-fetched. A scholarship in a foreign country, a competition in a distant city, a career path full of challenges. At first it may appear impossible, the logistics overwhelming, the odds stacked against them. Yet each effort, every step of planning, guidance, and encouragement gradually turns the improbable into reality. The dream once dismissed as impossible becomes attainable because of belief, planning, and unwavering commitment. Even in moments of fear, the impossible is temporary. A person standing before a public speaking audience may feel that speaking confidently, holding attention, and conveying the message is impossible. The fear may paralyze, the doubt may scream, yet taking a deep breath, beginning with one sentence, one gesture, one step at a time, transforms the moment. What seemed impossible to accomplish is achieved through courage, persistence, and focus. The mind that believes in possibility bends the impossible into reality. The impossible is also temporary in the pursuit of financial independence. A person may feel overwhelmed by debt, low income, or economic circumstances. The goal of stability, growth, and prosperity feels distant, even impossible. Yet small steps, consistent saving, skill development, and strategic planning gradually change the financial landscape. What seemed unattainable becomes a series of achievable milestones. Each calculated effort compounds, and the impossible yields to consistent action and unwavering belief. Consider the example of someone facing health challenges. A diagnosis may feel like a permanent limit, a life of impossibility. Yet following a treatment plan, adopting lifestyle changes, seeking guidance from professionals, and maintaining a positive mindset gradually improve the body, restore energy, and expand capacity. The impossible today becomes the achievement of tomorrow. The limitation yields to determination, persistence, and belief in the power of progress. The impossible is temporary because life is dynamic. Circumstances shift and persistence shapes reality. What feels unattainable is often a challenge waiting to be overcome, a mountain that appears higher than it really is, a wall that can be scaled with the right strategy and effort. Every great accomplishment in history was once deemed impossible. Every invention, every breakthrough, every act of human courage began in doubt, fear, and uncertainty. Yet belief, persistence, and refusal to quit bend reality, transforming the impossible into the ordinary, the extraordinary into the expected. Even small daily steps illustrate this truth. Someone writing a book may feel overwhelmed by the blank page, the story seeming impossible to complete. Yet writing one paragraph, one page, one chapter at a time transforms the impossible into a finished work. A runner conquers a marathon begins with a single step. A student mastering a skill starts with a single lesson. The impossible is temporary because action, faith, and persistence shape outcomes. And the mind that refuses to accept limitation bends reality to its favor. The impossible is temporary because it is never fixed. It is fluid, shifting with effort, focus, and determination. The challenges, barriers, and doubts are only temporary conditions. With belief, persistence, and courage, what seems beyond reach today will become the victory of tomorrow, the achievement that rewrites the story, and the reality that proves the impossible is nothing but a moment waiting to pass. So now, as you sit here listening to these words, I want you to feel the power that lies within you, the unstoppable force that exists when belief in yourself becomes louder than the doubts of the world. Every person has felt the weight of impossibility pressing down, the heavy hand of circumstances trying to convince them that they are not enough, that their dreams are too big, that their purpose is unattainable. But I tell you, my friends, impossibility exists only in the mind of those who surrender to it. It is not a wall, it is not a sentence, it is not a limit. Impossibility is an invitation, a challenge, a test of your courage, resilience, and belief in what you are capable of achieving. Every great story, every legend, every person who rose above mediocrity once faced the same whisper of doubt, the same voice saying you cannot, the same pressure that says this is too hard. And yet they chose to rise anyway, to act anyway, to believe anyway. Remember Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb. Each failure was not a defeat, it was a lesson, a step closer to discovery. He understood that impossibility is temporary and persistence powered by belief is permanent. And so must you understand that every rejection you face, every setback you experience, every door that closes in your life is not a judgment on your ability. It is a sign that the next step, the next idea, the next effort will bring you closer to what you are meant to achieve. Your failures are not chains, they are wings. Your setbacks are not walls, they are mirrors showing you where to improve, where to learn, and where to persist. Think of every time you wanted to speak up but hesitated, every time you held back because you were afraid of judgment, every time you told yourself that now is not the right time or that you are not ready. Each of those moments was a choice between listening to fear or listening to the voice of your own potential. And now, I want you to choose the voice of your own potential. I want you to speak it aloud in your mind, to breathe it into your soul, to feel it energizing every cell of your body. I can. I will. I am capable. I am strong. I am worthy. These words, when repeated with conviction, are more powerful than any obstacle, more unbreakable than any circumstance, more transformative than any doubt. You see, the people who succeed are not those who never fail. They are those who refuse to let failure define them. They are those who wake up each morning and take another step forward, even when yesterday's step felt impossible. They are those who understand that small, consistent actions, repeated every day, build momentum that cannot be stopped. They know that belief is the fuel, persistence is the engine, and courage is the compass that guides them through the storms. And so must you, because your dreams are not small, your potential is not limited, and your life is not meant to be ordinary. Look around you. and you will see that the world is full of people who believed anyway, people who stood in the face of doubt and said yes to their vision, people who turned scarcity into abundance, failure into mastery, rejection into opportunity. They are not gifted with magic. They are gifted with belief, and they nurtured it, protected it, and allowed it to grow into unstoppable action. Belief is contagious. When you believe in yourself, you inspire others to believe too. When you refuse to surrender to impossibility, you create a path for everyone watching, for everyone waiting for permission to rise above their own limits. Your courage becomes their courage. Your faith becomes their hope. Your action becomes the spark that lights their own journey. Never forget, the size of your dream does not matter. The enormity of the challenge does not matter. The fear you feel does not matter. What matters is the strength of your belief and the persistence of your effort. What seems impossible today is a story waiting to be rewritten by your hands, a challenge waiting to be conquered by your mind, a mountain waiting to be climbed by your determination. Your belief is the bridge between where you are now and where you are meant to be. It is the difference between surrendering to doubt and standing tall in your destiny. So as you leave this moment, as you step back into the world with its noise, its pressures, and its endless distractions, I want you to remember this truth: the impossible is temporary. Your belief is eternal. Your courage is invincible. Your potential is infinite. And every day that you refuse to give up, every day that you choose to act, every day that you hold your vision and move toward it, no matter how small the steps, you are rewriting the story of your life. You are proving to yourself and to the world that nothing can stop a mind, a heart, and a spirit that refuses to surrender. Believe in yourself anyway. Act in spite of fear. Move in spite of doubt. Speak your truth. Chase your dreams and rise even when the world tells you to stay down. Your journey is not defined by the limits others place on you. It is defined by the courage you summon, the persistence you nurture, and the unwavering belief that you are capable of more than anyone, including yourself, has imagined. And when you embrace this truth, when you let belief light every step of your path, when you allow persistence to turn every obstacle into an opportunity, when you act with courage regardless of circumstance, you will see what once seemed impossible transform into the possible, the probable, and the inevitable. The impossible becomes a stepping stone, a lesson, a gateway to greatness. The impossible becomes a story of triumph, a legacy of resilience, and a testament to the power of belief. And in that moment, you will understand that all the fear, all the doubt, all the "I cannot" and "this is too hard" were temporary illusions designed to teach you the strength of your own spirit and the depth of your own potential. So stand tall, rise with confidence, move with determination, and let the fire of belief within you burn brighter than any obstacle outside. Your life is yours to shape, your destiny yours to claim, and your dreams yours to achieve. The impossible is nothing when your heart refuses to quit, your mind refuses to surrender, and your spirit refuses to be broken. And as long as you choose to believe, as long as you choose to act, as long as you choose to rise, every mountain becomes climbable, every door swings open, every challenge bends, and every dream becomes inevitable.